Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at the Tula mic. This is kind of a Swiss Army knife of microphones. So this has a recorder built in, but it can also output audio out of its USB port and its headphone jack here simultaneously, so you can record a backup while you're ingesting into something else. It has onboard storage. You can mount it on microphone arms. It has built-in noise cancellation and 2 microphone capsules that you can choose from. Lots of stuff to talk about on this one, which we're going to get to in just a second, but I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that this came in free of charge from Tula. All of the opinions, though, you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this little microphone is all about. Now, the price point on this is $229. The price on this definitely puts it into a more premium price category, but I think the feature set here is extensive enough to make that price somewhat reasonable in this case. Now, the build quality is really nice on this. It's got some high-end plastics here along with a nice metal frame. The little stand here is also metal and will fold up for transport. It's got buttons on the left and right-hand side to control some of its various functions. So, for example, on the left-hand side here, we have our mic gain up and down buttons. You have some navigation buttons for when you're playing back audio files that it's recording. You have a mute button here, a noise cancellation button, and then right here is a button to switch between its cardioid microphone and its omnidirectional microphone. Now, the cardioid mode is the one that I would leave it in most of the time. It's got the richer, fuller sound, as you'll hear in a few minutes when we do our mic test, but it only picks up from directly in front of the mic, and you'll want to position the mic fairly close to your face for the best results. The omnidirectional mic, as its name implies, will pick up from all directions. It might be a little bit easier to work with in certain environments, especially if you're interviewing somebody and this is the only mic you have available to you to do that. And then you can offset some of the noise in the room with that noise cancellation button, and we'll explore that feature in a little bit as well. On the front here, you can see that it's got a blinking green light, and that is basically your level meter. So if it ever goes yellow or red, you know you're peaking. But right now, because it's green, it indicates that we're not peaking out our audio there. This light here will light up red when you are recording. And then on the other side here, you've got some controls for the recording and playback functions. So this button here obviously will start a recording session. You can hit the button again to pause the recording. And then when you re-enable it, the file will continue getting written. So you're not getting multiple audio files when you hit pause. It'll just pause the one it's recording and then resume when you push the button again. And then, of course, you've got stop, which will close that file and start a new one the next time you hit record. And then if you have headphones attached, you can hit play and play those things back. What's interesting is that this also allows you to connect microphones up to it. And Tula has a lavalier microphone that they've made available for this, but many other lavalier mics should work as well. Just note, though, that this is what's called a TRRS connector, where you've got 3 conductors. And that's because this port is very similar to what you would have on a smartphone in that it can support headphones and a microphone simultaneously. So for example, if you've got a microphone like I have here with a 2-conductor output, you're going to need to get an adapter, what's called a TRRS to TRS adapter, so that you can get the microphone to work properly with your Tula mic here. Just note, though, that if you are recording off of an external microphone, it will not pick up the internal mics. So you've got 3 microphone choices here, the Omni, the cardioid, and the external, but you can only record or output one at a time. There's no mixing built into this. And then on the back, you've got a USB Type-C port. This is what you use for outputting to your PC or tablet, and it will also charge the battery on board. The battery, they say, is going to last you about 12 hours, and there's 8 gigabytes of storage on board, so you should be able to record the full length of the storage with the battery. And of course, if you have a USB power source attached, you can run it off of that instead. Now, as far as the recording format is concerned, it will record 48 kilohertz wave files that are uncompressed. Those should work on just about anything, but you can't make any adjustments to the recording audio file format, so just be aware of that. One neat thing that it does do, though, which we'll explore a little later, is that if you have the noise cancellation activated, it will save a version with the noise canceling on it, but also save a raw version as well, just in case something didn't go right with the noise cancellation during your recording, and that was a really nice touch. You'll note on the back here, it just has 2 screws for getting inside of it. They do say they support the right to repair, so there's nothing glued together on this thing. It's just snapped together and then secured with the screws. However, I did not see them selling any parts for this just yet on their website, and I hope to see that at some point in the future, especially if you need to replace the battery down the road. But it was nice to see that they did indicate a support for right to repair in the marketing materials. Now, as I mentioned, you're going to want to get this thing mounted on a mic stand or arm for the best results, and to do that, you can just twist off the included stand and twist in the included adapter here, and when that's on, you can use this to screw it down onto a microphone arm. Now, my mic arm has a smaller screw on the top of it, so I have an adapter here that I have for some of my other mics that just screws into the bottom here, and then I can get it mounted on the arm and use it like any other microphone. Now, one thing to note on this for compatibility is that this shows up as a standard USB microphone. So a little earlier, we tried it with my iPad. It worked fine there. We got it working on Macs and PCs without any issues, and then Android devices seem to work with it also. So really anything that supports a USB mic should support this, and of course you can record at the same time you're outputting audio over that USB port. So let's get this thing hooked up now and see how it sounds. All right, so we've got the microphone now in cardioid mode, but I have it here about an arm's length away on my desk using the stand, and it doesn't sound bad, but as you'll hear in a minute, it will sound better when we get that mic closer to my face. But I wanted to just show you a couple of things here, like handling the microphone and whether or not that might pick up some sound. It will. So you're going to want to keep your hands off of this thing while you're handling it, or be very careful to not touch the front or back depending on the mode that you're in. I'm going to switch it into the omnidirectional mode right now, which I just did there, so you can see what it sounds like in the omni mode. Definitely a different sound, but if I turn the mic away from me here in omni mode, it will still pick me up just as well. And if I go back to cardioid here now, we will hear it from the front, and then if we flip it around here from the back, you can hear it sounds very different. So the omni will give you some more options when you've got somebody next to you on the other side of a table that you might want to pick up as well. Let me get this thing mounted on the arm now so you can hear how it sounds when it's in its ideal mounting position. All right, so we've got the mic on an arm now, and it's about 4 inches or so away from my mouth. I think that's the best spot for me. If I get closer, it gets a little deeper, but you really have to play around a little bit with the gain and the distance to find what works best for you. Right now, it's in cardioid mode. I think it sounds pretty good. I would suggest getting a pop filter for this because I am somebody who does a lot of explosives. My P's pop all the time, so you might want to angle it a little bit differently or get some kind of filter to put on the front of it. Let me switch it into the omnidirectional mode so you can hear what that sounds like. So there we go, we're in Omni now. Not as rich, but it does give you the ability to move around a little bit more, which you can't really do in cardioid mode where you really have to stay centered on the mic. And we'll switch it back now. One other thing I did a little bit earlier was played around with the noise cancellation. And what I did is I stood under my noisy air handler over there to see how it sounded in a couple of different modes. So let's have a listen. All right, I've got the microphone right now in omnidirectional mode, and I have my air handler behind me here running at full blast. So I thought I would give you an idea as to what it sounds like with the noise canceling off. And now let's turn it on. And what I found interesting about this is that no matter what microphone mode you're in, your audio, what's coming out of your mouth, sounds the same, but the background does change. So it doesn't really distort what you're recording, but it does make an improvement there. All right, so now we have it in cardioid mode, and right now the noise reduction is off. And now let's switch on the noise reduction here in cardioid mode. So again, a very subtle change, but you can hear the difference, I think, especially if you're wearing headphones. All right, I'm back at my desk now on my lapel mic, and I plugged the microphone into my Mac. And as you can see here, we have 2 versions of every file because we had noise canceling enabled as we were recording. Now, you have to enable noise cancellation before you start recording to get both the raw and the canceled version. And if you do that, you will see what you just saw there. One other thing to note here on noise canceling is that you want to enable it when there's no other audio going on in the room beyond the stuff you want to cancel out. It uses that to set its algorithmic print. So just be sure to keep everybody quiet for a second or two as you enable the mode there. And it just takes a second or two for it to do the reading and try to cancel out the audio. Now, this is not going to rival some of the AI-driven noise cancellation we're seeing from NVIDIA and Apple and others. So if somebody walks into the scene with a vacuum cleaner or a leaf blower, it's not going to be able to filter that out all that well. But it will do a pretty good job with air handlers and fans and other things that might be making constant noise in the background. Now, when you have noise canceling enabled, the canceled audio is what's going to come out of the USB port or the analog output here on the side. So just be aware of that. And this will do a zero latency output of the microphone through the analog output here, if you're wondering. And you can also use this to monitor your computer's audio, because in addition to being a drive and a microphone, it will also show up as a USB headphone, essentially, that you can listen to through the port here over the USB. There is no internal speaker on here, though, so in order to review the recorded files, you do need headphones attached. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this microphone. It sounds great, especially in cardioid mode, but you have the option for an omnidirectional pickup pattern. It's very well constructed. It's really well thought out. I really like the ability to record while also outputting, so I have a backup. And it was really a nice touch, I think, to offer the ability to save the raw file in addition to the noise-canceled version. So a lot of the things that I think podcasters and musicians might be looking for are here, and it's something that I can feel comfortable recommending. So altogether, the Tula mic here, I think, is a pretty cool little device for those looking to record audio in high quality. And that will do it for this one. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Hot Sauce and Video Games, Brian Parker, Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Thomas Anfang, Jim Tanis, and Handheld Obsession. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.